It's March. Normally that means that the snow is starting to melt, you can go outside without a jacket, and the flowers are starting to grow. However, it is 2024, so that means that the Megamind sequel is out on Peacock. I don't know what we're being punished for. I actually have a pretty good idea, but I don't think this is something that anyone asked for. Before jumping right into the mess, I'm gonna lay out some background information. The Megamind sequel was barely announced a month ago with a trailer. Definitely weird news to receive about 14 years after the original movie came out in theaters. This movie would be going directly to streaming services. From the trailer, people noticed a few things. There was not a single voice actor from the original cast returning for the reboot. And the animation looked off. Rather than a DreamWorks movie, it looked more like Miraculous Ladybug in terms of visuals. Even in a scene in the trailer, you can see Megamind and Roxanne Ritchie shooting tennis ball guns. Instead of the balls coming out of the barrel, they just appear in front of the gun. Was this movie made entirely in SFM with Gmod assets? Because of the quality of animation, there are several frames I'm seeing screenshots of that are just cursed. I know this movie was made for kids. What I don't know is why they took a franchise that has had no new content in 15 years, took a movie already made for kids and then made it for an even younger demographic, and then advertised it as nostalgic to people who were kids when the first movie came out. I think they were baiting for hate watchers, and congrats to them, because honestly it worked. Getting to the movie, the film immediately starts with a fourth wall break, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's immediately followed by a recap of the first movie. A film should never have to rely on a recap of whatever they're sequeling or spinning off for people to understand what's going on. Although I'm pretty sure they just did this to make people feel nostalgic before ripping the rug right from under them with this movie. The action starts in an aquarium where three men dressed as fish try to break in and rob a diamond-encrusted fish. Then in come Megamind and Minion to save the day. If anything, it is kind of funny seeing Megamind going from fighting Metro Man and Titan to people that you or I could beat easily with just a gun. In this scene, two things are revealed. The events in this movie take place just 2 days after the events in the first movie, and Minion's name is no longer Minion. They've renamed him to Old Chum. The reason stated in the movie was a cease and desist. That might not be a lie, but that would be a little odd considering Universal owns both DreamWorks and Illumination. It could be that they just wanted to improve the character's search engine optimization. I'm still calling him Minion. This scene also shows us that the writers forgot what makes Megamind funny. In this movie, whenever Megamind comes to stop the thieves, he's just standing there. Menacingly! What made him so funny in the first movie is he would have this grand and overkill introduction, something meant to intimidate and scare people. But then it would just be this annoying, silly little blue guy. This movie, probably due to budget constraints, doesn't have any instances of that happening. After this, we get a few scenes of Megamind being really full of himself. Everyone seems to be willing to indulge him except for Minion and Roxanne, who both seem uncontent. Minion feels as though he doesn't get enough respect from Megamind, which he doesn't, but this is a weird side plot because Megamind has always been egotistical. Yeah, he's a superhero now instead of a supervillain, but that's really just two sides of the same coin. Not to mention, this was also a plot point that was supposedly solved in the first movie. Remember that this movie is supposed to take place 2 days after that. I could call this a slap in the face to the first film, but that would be implying that this entire production wasn't just that. Roxanne's dilemma makes little more sense, I guess. She realizes that she's tired of reporting on the accomplishments of others, and wants to do something on her own. She seemed content with her job in journalism just 2 days ago. I get that a lot has changed, but these are weird side plots for these characters, especially considering how close the events of this movie are to that of the last movie. Not to mention, Roxanne has made it pretty high up in her field. Let's not downplay the importance of what she does. She's an on-the-ground reporter for cable television. Far better than just writing BuzzFeed quizzes about which toaster would you stick a fork in? A new character is also introduced, Keiko, a middle school-age kid who created a social media page for Megamind, and has 500,000 followers on it. Her design is definitely a little bit out of place. That's a problem with reboots though. You can always tell which character designs are a product of the 90s or 2000s, and which character designs are a product of the 2020s. She approaches Megamind and assumes the position of his social media manager.
It's cool. My generation was born tech-savvy.
Okay, full stop, that's objectively not true. It is true that if you put a 2-year-old in front of an iPad every day, they'll pretty quickly learn how to put Subway Surfers on every Apple device. But this upcoming generation is not tech savvy. They don't know how to open zip files or even what those are. They don't know how storage structures work. They probably couldn't install a new operating system even if they wanted to. They just know how to use things that were configured for them to be able to use it. Megamind was right to not hand her the watch. Minion asks Megamind for a promotion but gets turned down, and afterwards they go their own separate ways. We get a few jokes in the scene. They aren't terrible, kind of bland, but everything sounds weird coming from the new voice actor. We then get introduced to the Doom Syndicate. There is a woman who can create thunderstorms, a man made out of lava, a knight who doesn't really have any interesting qualities about him, and a mime that can talk. He is a mime, they don't talk, you had one job. Maybe you could have used the money you used to pay a voice actor to play a mime and put it towards the visual budget. Back when he was a villain, he told them to lay low and wait for a signal to meet up with him. They think that him pretending to be a hero is that sign. They run amok in the city a little bit, and Megamind goes with them. He tries to undo some of the damage that they're doing, but ultimately it doesn't really work. While doing this, he saves Keiko, and she asks him when he's going to stop them. It's probably here when she realizes she bit off more than she could chew, volunteering to be his public relations guy. This scene goes on for honestly way longer than I expected it to. Megamind gets pretty stressed out trying to figure out how he's going to deal with everything. And it isn't helped by the fact that the Doom Syndicate are throwing a rave in his secret lair for criminals. I wonder how many of these assets were made specifically for this scene. Half of these people look like regular dudes, and the other half look like regular dudes in jumpsuits and ski masks. At the party, the fish crew that Megamind arrested show up. They almost reveal that he's actually a hero, so he has his robots crank up the music and starts dancing to distract everyone. This results in a dance battle, eventually leading to Megamind capturing and dehydrating all three of them. After this, Megamind reveals his old plan to launch Monstrosity to the moon. I'll try to be nice here because this was my favorite part of the movie. The idea was outlandish and ridiculous, which made it kinda funny, but I really just like the 8-bit visuals he used to describe his plan. Keep in mind this is such a small compliment that it doesn't qualify as a redeeming quality. Megamind realizes he's going to need Minion's help to stop the Doom Syndicate, but Minion is now working at what was a crappy diner, but he's really turned the place around. Almost too much so because Megamind can't even get in to talk to him without a reservation. Once realizing that Minion is happy where he's at, Megamind resolves to defeat the Doom Syndicate on his own. He traps him in a porter prison and reveals that he's actually a hero. The end. Megamind barely escapes with his life. Roxanne and Keiko find him in an alleyway where they inspire him to take on the Doom Syndicate one last time. They do a character moment here with Keiko where she reveals that she used to be a bad kid before Megamind stopped Titan, inspiring her to change and join the Apex games. Minion shows up out of literally nowhere and agrees to help Megamind save the city. Megamind realizes that he's not a solo act and he needs help to save the city. Alright, let's do this one last time. They have an hour to stop the Doom Syndicate before they break the titanium door and launch the city to the moon. Which they do before Megamind and his crew even get there, but the button has a 5-minute timer giving them some time to work with. Here, Megamind and Roxanne confirm the relationship status.
But obviously there is some romantic tension between you two, no?
It's complicated.
Not the situationship, Gambit. I'm guessing somebody in the writing room made the comment that it might be weird to have a human and an alien in a relationship. Way to go, guys. Shame on you for not being progressive for the year 2186. They go toe-to-toe, but Minion isn't able to sneak in and disable the launch before it happens. By the time the launch is cancelled, the city is pretty high in the sky. Megamind has to take on the Doom Syndicate on his own while Roxanne and Keiko try to calm everyone in the city. After taking out 2 on his own, Roxanne and Keiko come in and help him take out the last 2. They manage to slow the city's descent, but there's still an impact that definitely kills a lot of people. After saving the day, everyone gets what they want. Roxanne starts her campaign for mayor, and because the poor response from the current mayor led to extra panic, she easily wins. There are like 15 seconds of screen time before her deciding to run for mayor and her actually being mayor. I think they got to the end of the movie and remembered at the beginning of the movie they set up the fact that Roxanne was unhappy with her career and remembered that they needed to do something with that subplot. Keiko starts receiving crime fighting training and Minion is officially promoted to sidekick. Most importantly, Megamind gets a bat signal with his logo in it. Hopefully Bruce Wayne files another cease and desist against this movie. The end. I planned on making this video longer, but honestly the movie was pretty bland and all the scenes went on for way too long. There wasn't a lot of content to work with. Honestly, this could have been like a 40-minute special. Not that it would have made the story an actual story, but it would have been slightly more tolerable. Also, part of me didn't want to spend too much time talking about this movie. It doesn't deserve the time of day. I was also considering watching some of the TV show to criticize, but I just don't have the energy. They are planning for an additional season of the show, and there is a post-credit scene in the movie setting up a sequel, and that absolutely baffles me. Can you imagine being an animator for this movie, putting out some of your worst work yet because there is no budget and the deadlines are short? You see this movie come together to be what it is, under the writers and director's vision. Then after all that, you see that they have the gall to include a post-credit scene setting up a movie that will most definitely never happen. You can make cheap garbage for kids and market it as nostalgia for adults because it's using characters from an old franchise. And you can try to get as many hate viewers as possible, and it'll work. The first time. But now you have this show that you want more seasons for that not even reviewers like me will touch, and another movie that you want to make that you'll definitely just lose money on. It's a terrible long-term strategy.